So I came across this article by Lucy Middleton, a content writer with Metro News here in the UK, and it details her beliefs that the UK's response to the COVID-19 pandemic has been a sexist one. She draws these conclusions from the fact that many women stand to lose their jobs, typically in female-dominated roles, which are slow to exit the lockdown. She also states that women's claims have fallen on deaf ears, with the UK government failing to listen. The example that she gave, and that the article was predominantly about, was actually with reference to bringing beauticians out of lockdown and back into work. She feels that with the 3 days they were given to prepare and the sector being dominated by 91% women, that the decisions will leave women scrambling to maintain their jobs and to, kick things off in such a short length of time. She also notes that the lack of available childcare, which will render it impossible for many mums to rejoin the workforce, which is quite true actually. That is something that needs to be addressed. Now, some of these are fair observations, but the first is in very narrow reference to those who live or work rather within the beauty sector. However, what strikes me as strange is the complete avoidance of the fact that healthcare and nursing are vastly dominated by females. It's their female-led sectors, and they have thrived in recent conditions. So she talks about sexism and then this entire thing being a sexist attack on women almost, but she fails to note that it's essentially really been the only jobs available. Take a look at this graph, for example. This is sex distribution across several key countries, and you can see there that the UK follows the trend perfectly. It's about 77% women versus men employed. Now, Lucy makes no mention of the clear fact that for the last 6 months, 5 months, one of the most consequential job sectors for women has virtually been the only one available. Statistically, it's been men who have been hit economically hardest, and that's not even mentioning the fact that we're at greater risk of actually contracting and dying from the virus. Miss Hamilton goes on to say the following: "I don't think a female Secretary of State would have allowed the retail industry, which is 60% female, to reopen without thinking about childcare support for working mothers." I'm going to unpack this statement carefully. So to readily denounce a decision that literally breathes life into a sector responsible for over 306 billion, I'll have it on the screen, that's in 2019 alone, is obscene. And to do so in such a politicized and segregated fashion, it's outrageous. It plays in today's incredibly lucrative gender war, and I'm quite sure Lucy's written a very view-hungry political hit piece whilst playing on human tragedy and party division, as most seem to do these days. Now, this may just be me, but am I alone in thinking that her choice to use the beauty sector as an example is a completely poor one? Surely the return of the sectors to the economy should be one of priority. It should be based on impact, it should be based on importance, necessity, and sacrifice. Sacrificing non-essential services in favour of those that we can't do without, surely. In what world is the beauty sector an essential service? That it's not a decision that's made to spite women, it's just basic logic. Not to mention the beauty sector has only pulled in around, I think, 28.4 billion back in 2018. It's just common sense for me. And just to add insult to injury, Lucy's actually only discussing a sliver of the beauty industry when she's talking about beauticians. She fails to acknowledge the fact that retail and beauty actually go hand in hand. Most of the beauty industry is sold as products through outlets. So again, I don't think she's done her research there. She continues in the article to address several points surrounding a lack of child and elderly residential care and its impact on women. She actually goes on to quote Mary Ann Stevenson of the Women's Budget Group in saying that this is actually all a strategic blind spot in the government's plans. And I do understand, I completely understand the impact on typically women or anyone in those care situations. But the whole approach bemuses me, essentially. It concerns me that they don't really seem to understand sacrifice and choice. It's a selfless and truly commendable choice that's made to sacrifice your own desires, and your own ambitions to care for another. But then you can't turn round and suggest that you want the rewards that come with the ruthless choices. A strange side point is it's usually crisis that instantly solidifies the meaning of these words: sacrifice, collaboration. But not this time, apparently. So I'm not entirely sure where she's coming from there. But for me, if a ruthless choice is made and you don't care about anyone but yourself, you're essentially free to achieve almost anything. Almost anything. But if you choose the nice route, for lack of a better word, then how can you turn around and demand the rewards that come with the selfish option, with selfish behaviour? If anything, in essence, it poisons the selfless act and pays no attention to the meaning and necessity of sacrifice, especially in times of crisis. You can't have everything. For me, it's quite a clear-cut black and white situation we're in here. The facts are very simple. The COVID pandemic, it caught us all completely off guard. Globally, we all scrambled to deal with the situation, and in turn, we all arrived at the conclusion to lock down, some sooner than others. Everybody is tacitly involved. Everybody is affected. COVID isn't a legislation. It's not a political land grab. It's not something someone has imposed on you. It's something that truly threatens older members of our species. You are tacitly involved. The work that's been done by the UK government and all governments, excluding a few which I'll probably cover in later videos, but it's been exhausting. It's been ongoing, and this establishment that everyone seems to be attacking has performed amazingly under the circumstances, in the time frame. The plan's being written as we go. I find it appalling that media would try to drag a plan that searches, in the dark might I add, for a solution through the gender war mud and in a transparent attempt to literally ignite the situation, a situation that involves over 44,000 dead in the UK alone, and that's not even looking at it on a global scale. But it's just my opinion. It's my take on the matter. But more important, what do you think? That's what this channel's all about. I want other minds. I want to meet people with varying mindsets. I want to know your opinions, and please make full use of the comment section. I'm not going to ask you to like or subscribe. I've got enough of that in my introductions. But please do comment. If you do anything, please comment. I think discussion's healthy, and I want to know what you think. What's your take on all of this?